Hey family, it's Tasha MAMABEAR Prepping. So welcome to the channel. Welcome back to the channel. You already know what time it is. Get your drink, pull up. We're about to talk about it. So today we are going to talk about being self-sufficient. How do you get to the point of self-sufficiency? What are some things you should be thinking about when we talk about being self-sufficient, being self-reliant, being able to count on yourself to survive and not depend on other people, a government, an entity, a company, basically other people, especially when something negative happens, right? A crisis happens and then you're left there just waiting for somebody else to come and assist you when you could just do things to prepare now and to get ready now so that you don't have to do that. The end goal, though, is being self-sufficient in the manner of providing for yourself, providing your own food, providing your own medical care, being able to just provide for yourself, take care of yourself, build things, do things for yourself, and not having to get that service taken care of somewhere else, whether that's in a utility service, right? That's something on the grid that you're needing to get or have, right? From heating, water, power, all of that stuff, to a grocery store and needing a food and needing a hospital and needing other things, right? How do you, even simple things like services like getting something altered. Let me turn this off. Getting something altered or sewn, dry cleaned, just the different services that we go to get all these things, to get food, right? Fast food, restaurants, things like that. And so we're just going to talk about the things that I think help or that you should grow or figure out how to get these things done so that you're on your way to living a self-sufficient life, but being able to do things yourself and not depend on other people. Okay. So the first note or thing I have is get land if possible. Now, do I think that it is possible to be self-sufficient and not have any huge amount of land? Absolutely. We have just under half an acre here. We're going to grow food. We're going to be self-sufficient. We're going to build this spot right here in semi-urban type neighborhood to be self-sufficient, right? To have our own power, our own water, our own everything, right? Will it take time? Will it take hard work? Absolutely. That's the case anywhere you go, whether you're kind of in the city or whether you're not. But land and having any kind of land from a half acre to 200 acres, all that does is increase your options, okay? Options and availability for, raising animals, growing food. The more land you have, the more opportunity possibly is there. The more land you have, possibly the more renewable resources are there, right? So just the more land you have, your possibilities open up a little bit more. But there is negatives to having land as well, as far as having to defend that and watch over that. And it can be a lot. It can be daunting, okay? So I have land if possible, okay? Then we get into number 2 I have is growing your own food. So basically, this is a no-brainer. Everybody knows putting in a garden, plowing, getting in it with your hands and growing your own food is what matters at the end of the day. If you can provide for yourself and your family, and then continue to do that with your own seeds and your own stuff that you've saved, right? You have the ability to one day get to the point where you're producing so much that you're not having to depend on the store. Meaning something happens, the store closes, you can't get food, like what we're about to come across here soon. that you'll still be okay because you know how to grow food and produce food for your family, right? You are dependent on yourself. And whether you're starting small with a patio garden or a victory garden or whatever you want to call it, that matters because that skill set is one that has to be learned. It's not easy, right? And there's going to be a lot of misfires and not getting things right, but you just keep at it, keep at it. And part of being self-sufficient is being able to produce your own food and preserve that food and keep it. Next thing I have is raising animals that provide, right? So there's one thing having pets and animals in general, but having animals that provide a food or provide something, right? So you have goats, okay, maybe providing milk, right? You can do dairy products with that now. You have all types of meat animals, pigs, birds, turkeys, quails. You have rabbits, so you have meat animals, right, that are meant to be raised and then slaughtered and eaten, okay? And you have a variety of stuff that grows quickly and can be slaughtered pretty quick, stuff that has to mature. And again, depends on your land and how much space you have and, how you provide for them, okay? And being able to, again, provide for them in a self-sufficient way, right? Not depending on, hey, I have somewhere where I'm getting a certain type of feed, right? So how do you take care of those animals? How do you feed those animals in a self-sufficient way? And which animals provide stuff for you? Chickens, eggs, getting your eggs, whatever it is, getting your animals together, learning how to breed those animals, which ones need to be breeded, what time do you breed them, being able to take care of that. That whole thing is something to be learned and is not, to me is not gonna be easy, right? We're gonna baby step it, we're gonna start small, but the end game is to be self-sufficient and get things from certain animals and to make those choices very specific to what can that animal provide for you and your family. How does it add to the value of your family and your homestead and what you're building? Number 4 I have is building holistic knowledge. So getting smart about plants, medicinal properties of plants, pieces and elements of the plant and what each of those can be utilized to do or be made into, whether it's a salve or a tincture or whatever, okay? And studying that stuff, writing it down, having literature, having books, having taken classes, put some stuff together, but learning how to take care of yourself, right? Yeah, I get it. There's some emergency crisis that might happen that you're like, you'd have to have a doctor or you die. Well, guess what? That's what people did back in the days. They died, right? Because there wasn't modern technology. My point is that you want to try to, especially the everyday stuff, have and know how to take care of that stuff yourself. Not being dependent on a 911 system, right? Not being dependent on that. You just pick up the phone and somebody will come and save the day. You have to be able to get to the point where you're self-sufficient and you know that if something happens on your property, in your home, that you're able to take care of it, whether it's a little boo-boo, right? Or if it's something more serious, somebody's broken an arm, or you have, they split something open, you now have to suture that shut, right? That wound shut. Whatever it is, right? Learning that stuff, learning holistically, plant-wise, stuff that you on your land again can grow and then make things that will help you with your health, okay? And getting better with different things, okay? I have a little bit of a headache today. Number 5 I have is producing your own power. So again, lots of folks back in the day, they didn't really have power, right? They had lanterns, they had the light from the fire, they had different things, right? And so is it a requirement to have power in your home? No. If we lost the grid and people had to live with no power, people would adapt, and a lot of people would adapt with no power and eventually would be just fine, okay? But being, again, self-sufficient is, how do you How do you provide that power for your house? What does that mean for you? How much power do you guys need? Is it just enough power to run certain things, washer and dryer, certain things, little bit of power possibly to charge things. Maybe it's your security system you want to charge. Whatever it is, knowing what that is for you, right? What is the threshold of how much power do you think you need? And then building and developing the plan for that. How do you guys plan to get that, getting the pieces for that, and then building that? Again, we are on the grid here all the time, but we talk about constantly, getting off the grid and how do we build towards that even though we're in this type of area. Number 6 thing I have is composting, right? Making your own compost, right? Whether that's a tumbler, like I have a small tumbler right now, but we are planning to get the materials. It's going to cost, it's like $700, $800 for the material that we want to build a composting spot, right? So it's important to set up those spots in your area to help you with the things I just mentioned, right? Composting is super, super important for your garden and being able to have a nice crop every single year. Right behind that, I have fertilizer, learning how to make your own fertilizer, different fertilizing techniques and different things that you can make, right? To, again, self-sufficiency, make your own fertilizer, and again, to help with your crops. Number 8 thing I have is cultivating renewable resources, right? So thinking about how do you grow those renewable resources that are needed? Things like water, right? Where do you get water? Can you get water where you're at? What happens when the water's gone in the stores? How do you keep that going? There's certain things that you have to think about. How do you produce yourself, right? Obviously, if you can get land and you can make sure that you get it and it has a pond and it has some creeks, or it's next to a river, or it has a couple wells, whatever it is, that's what people look for when they're looking for land and you're trying to be self-sufficient off grid. That stuff matters. Well, that stuff matters no matter where you're at. That stuff matters right now to us now. We think about what happens when the tap water is gone, or it's shut off, or it's compromised. And long term, how do we get water where we're at right now? And for a renewable resource of water, right? What does that look like? How do we get that? Same thing for stuff like wood. If you're using wood primarily to heat your home, how do you go about having that renewable resource? Do you have it near you? How do you get it? All of that stuff matters. Again, if you have land, maybe that's not a thing because you have that renewable resource. But those are the things that you want to think about, is what are the renewable resources that are important to you that help bolster that whole self-sufficiency thing, right? You have to be able to provide for yourself, and there's certain things that you're going to need, and renewable resources is something that you need to be thinking about how you get those and continue to get them. Number 9 thing I have is producing income. So, how are you making money? Is there a way for you to be self-sufficient, lean on yourself, not lean on others, but still produce some sort of income? Whether we're in bartering days or we're in some sort of monetary, we have money, we have some sort of dollars still here, whatever. But how are you bringing money to the table, right? If you have land, even if something's paid off, you still have taxes, you still have some stuff that has to be paid. You still have to get certain things. Maybe you're self-sufficient, but there are some items that you're still buying and purchasing, like feed for animals or whatever. Okay, fuels maybe. So how are you? What kind of income are you bringing in? And then later, when there is no dollar, there is no things to buy, but there's still stuff to barter. There's neighbors that have stuff that you might want. They have stuff that you might want, vice versa, right? And that whole bartering thing, what does that look like? What is that income? What would you have to offer from your homestead, right? From your home? Is it extra eggs from the chickens? Like, what is it? Is it a skill set? And figuring out what that income or bartering income could look like. And then the last thing I have, number 10, is probably one of the most important, and that's providing your own defensive, protection, right? How do you protect that? There, like I mentioned earlier in the video, there is no 911. You can't just call the cops because somebody's there trying to steal something or hurt somebody or whatever, right? And so you have to be able to, you're self-sufficient, you're running your own thing, but how do you protect that? And what does your defensive plan look like for protecting that? And again, we go back to land. The one, if any, negative that I can say about having a lot of land is that the protection plan of the land. A lot of people feel like for defensive, if they have a lot of land, they like that because it feels like it's a buffer. For me, it's the opposite because I'm so heavy on security that it's so much more to watch. It's so much more to patrol. It's so much more to figure out what's going on. And there's a higher probability that there's stuff happening on your actual land, whether that's people on it, people migrating on it, people taking from it. We talk about renewable resources, but people taking those renewable resources and you not having a clue. You could go and do walkabouts and go about and patrol your land every single day and still miss the fact that somebody is coming in and taking a renewable resource from you, right from under you, taking water from you or taking wood from you or whatever, hunting on your land and taking those renewable resources as far as animals that could provide meat for you and your family, right? And so to me, that's harder unless you have a whole community of people that are there where you're at. That's very hard to defend, okay? And not just defend like boom, somebody's trying to come at me, but defend those renewable resources. That's a big deal to me. And that's harder to do. So some people would just take the risk and just say, hey, I will just do my certain perimeters of defensive. And, it is what it is. If people are coming on the land and hunting or taking, resources from us, I'm only one person or I'm only one small family. I can't do it. So that's just how I feel about that. So the biggest thing is, can we survive what's coming, right? I would say that if you're preparing, you have a preparedness mindset, that you're well on your way to being okay, right? Is there some stuff that you probably still need to get? Yes. Everybody's time frame as far as when they started doing this type of stuff is different. But I would say that even if you're only a week into the game, right? Even if just now you're like, I got to go shopping, that's something, right? That's more than yesterday and you're going to be okay. But think about the end game. This is more than just the crisis of what's going on right now and getting ready for that and ramping up for that. But the thought process needs to be, where's the end game? Where's the perfect place for you and your family to go to procure the land, procure where you're going to live and dig in and get these things and start building because it's not overnight. We have these grand, like, oh, we're going to homestead. And I am going to homestead, but that takes time. It's step by step. It's little by little, right? And so, we're up against that urgency already. And so when you talk about getting these things in line that take time, we're already behind if you don't have these things. And if you have these things already and you're setting these things up, how do you bolster them? How do you make them better? How do you take them a step further, right? For those of you that are like, yeah, I have all this stuff. I have a homestead, I have a farm, I have all this stuff you mentioned on the list. I didn't get anything from this. Well, you should, because you should be thinking about all these areas one more time. Go back through them and be thinking about how can you make it better? How can you bolster it? How can you bulk something else up, come up with other backup plans for different things, make these things better, okay? So I hope you guys got something out of that. I've got a little bit of a headache. These lights are like just killing me right now. So Hopefully I will get my other video out on my other channel. I plan to video that one right now, record that one right now. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow is the weekend. I don't know what you guys have planned. We have a few projects here, but I think we're just going to be relaxing for the Father's Day weekend. It's supposed to be raining here, of course. And so we're just going with the flow right now. So I hope you guys are well, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye.